Hello friends, welcome back. We are live again today from the Coastal Production Kitchen. So give you a few minutes to tune in with us as we are gonna make some mussels. Mussels are one of my favorite things to make, so easy to do, crazy easy to do. And this is gonna make an awesome little brunch accompaniment. We're gonna continue on our brunch theme from yesterday. If you saw, we made the really cool smoked salmon hash with the Brussels sprouts and the fried eggs. So if you're looking to do a nice big holiday weekend brunch, this is a great little thing to go along with that. So again, we've got these really beautiful mussels, Prince Edward Island, absolutely gorgeous. And we're gonna give these a little bit of a special treatment. We are going to make Bloody Mary mussels. This is a recipe I developed a long time ago. It's on the website, and it's super fun, easy to do. And you can kind of mix and match just like you would any of your favorite Bloody Marys and do a lot of different things with that. So this is gonna be super fun. I'm gonna go ahead and get this started. And I'm gonna start by getting my pan on. Here, let's see, there we go. And to that, I've got some chopped bacon. This is some of the bacon that I got left over from yesterday's, the Newski's bacon from our friends over in Wisconsin. This is great stuff and available on our website. So I'm gonna go ahead, we talked a little bit about this yesterday, but I always do bacon into a cold pan. That's gonna help kind of bring that bacon slowly up to temperature, which is gonna help that fat render out a little bit better. And it's gonna give us just a little bit more of an even, better cook on our bacon. So I'm just kind of breaking up the bits here just a little bit because bacon likes to stick to itself a lot. But as it starts to heat, again, that fat's gonna melt, it's all gonna fall apart, and it'll be totally fine. You can hear it's already starting to kind of come up to a sizzle, which is great. That's that moisture that's rendering out of the bacon, which we need to have happen first, and then that fat will start to render out and crisp the bacon, which is ideal. So I've got this going. While that's going, I'm gonna go ahead and prep. I've got an onion here, which I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of roughly chop. Nothing fancy. You can be as rustic here as you want. I just got half of a yellow onion. You could use red onion, you could use shallots, again, kind of whatever you've got on hand to use here. We just want some of that onion flavor. So I'm just gonna go ahead, kind of rough chop up a bit here. Probably good. Now, when I'm doing these Bloody Mary mussels, one of the things I like to include generally is celery. Give you that kind of celery flavor that you get like with the celery salt and stuff in your Bloody Marys. However, I don't currently have any, so I'm going to omit that this time. But I am going to get that flavor from a little somewhere else, so we'll talk about that in a little bit. This bacon is working nicely, so at this point I'm going to go ahead and add in this onion and let this start cooking off in the bacon fat. Let that onion start to flavor and season that fat, because that's going to be a component of our sauce, which is going to be quite lovely for this. So I'm just going to get this all kind of working together beautifully. Now again, I really like to use celery here. I think it's a really nice pairing with all the other flavors that we've got going on. And if I were doing it, I would cut it small, just like the onion. But you can kind of do it however you want. If you like bigger chunks of celery, you can, that's fine. I've also got some leftover red bell pepper from yesterday's hash that I'm going to use here. Again, this is kind of an optional ingredient. I just have it, so I'm going to use it because it needs to be used and I don't want to waste it. So I'm going to go ahead and just add that to my pan and start softening those up as well. This is just going to add a little extra sweetness, which is fine. Again, if you don't have red bell peppers, that's fine. But again, this is just going to give us a little extra something here, which is always nice. So again, that bacon's starting to render off nice. The onions are starting to get soft and translucent, so that's pretty perfect. And that's mostly the base. If you had some chorizo, that would be great to go in here too. Just really great flavor combinations. Remember, if you have questions as we're cooking, please feel free to ask them. Now is a great time to do that. Anything you're looking to know, whether it's seafood or just general cooking tips, I am here to try to address those for you as best I can. So again, this is looking beautiful here. I'm gonna get that bacon, get a little bit more color to it. And I don't like to cook it super crisp for preparations like this. I'm gonna wind up basically kind of braising it the rest of the way through with the sauce. But I do like to get some color on there, start getting a little bit brown and nice. Absolutely gorgeous. And again, this would go great if you were doing like a big holiday spread. Doing a platter of mussels is really easy. You just do them, throw them in a platter or a baking dish or something with some bread, and you've got yourself a really, really nice kind of brunch dish. You could do this with an egg bake. You could do this alongside, again, that hash that we did yesterday would be really good to do. There's just so many different things that you can do with seafood when it comes to brunch. So this is looking good. So what I'm going to do is I've got a little white wine here. So I'm going to go ahead and just add this to my pan. Now anytime you're adding alcohol to a hot pan, it is best practice to remove that pan off the heat. And this will help avoid flame ups. But sometimes you want a little flame up, which is fine. So I'm actually going to do that by just tipping my pan. And you can see just by doing that, I ignited that wine. It's going to help burn off that alcohol, which is what we want. So I'm going to let this kind of simmer, and I want that wine to reduce by at least half, which is really great. I'm also going to add in a little bit of, if I can find it, my sherry vinegar. Just a little bit of this. Help give it a little acid to this. Help wake it up just a little bit. So I don't know, there's like a tablespoon of that in there. I'm going to let that reduce down with the wine. You can see it's looking very nice. It's smelling gorgeous. These flavors, the bacon, the onions, I've got the pepper in here, but again, celery would be fantastic, are just really great flavors. And it's really starting to come together. And as that wine reduces, it's kind of thickening and giving that sauce some body, which is exactly what we want to have happen. So we're looking pretty good here. So next thing I want to do is grab a few other things at the ready here. Got some hot sauce, got a lemon, and I've got my Bloody Mary mix. This is what kind of makes this recipe fun and different, is we're going to use this spicy Bloody Mary mix as the foundation for our broth. And this is such a fun recipe. We've done this in some of our classes, and it's always a huge hit. So I'm just going to add, you know, a cup or two of this to here. And now you've got all this leftover Bloody Mary mix, which you can use to actually make real Bloody Marys. And I will say, if you wanted, instead of white wine, you could certainly use mussels, you could certainly use vodka in place of the white wine. Just again, be careful when you're using alcohol over high heat. So today, just to reiterate, we are doing Bloody Mary mussels. So this is, I'm making kind of a Bloody Mary base that I'm going to steam my mussels in. So I've got my spicy Bloody Mary mix in here, but I'm going to add a little bit more hot sauce just for a little added heat. This is going to depend on how hot you like your Bloody Marys. Again, you can kind of do it however you want. And I've also got a little bit of Old Bay seasoning. Now this is going to give me some of that kind of herbaceousness that we would get from having celery without using celery, because this has got quite a bit of celery salt in it. So I'm going to go ahead and add this. And again, this has salt in here, so I'm not seasoning. I've already got bacon as well, so I don't really need to season this with salt. The mussels are also going to add some salt to this. So we're looking pretty good here. This just smells outrageous. It's just this rich, thick, beautiful tomatoey sauce. Absolutely beautiful. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this a little bit of a quick taste. Make sure my seasoning is kind of on point so far. This is so good already. Wow. And it's got a kick for sure. So what I want to do is I'm going to grab a cover for my pan. And now I've got these beautiful mussels. Now with mussels, you want to go and check through and make sure that they're all closed before you put them in there. Now if you have one that's, say, a little bit open, you can take another mussel and tap the shell with it. And if it closes, it's still alive and it's still good. And turn down my heat here just a little bit. If it doesn't close, then just get rid of it. So you want to go through and check all your mussels. You also want to pre-rinse them. These are all ready to go. So I'm just going to go ahead and add these to my pot. This one is open and dead, so I'm going to discard that. And I'm just going to kind of get them in a nice even layer here. And what I'm going to do is just cover this pot and leave it alone. As soon as those mussels open, we're going to be ready to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my garnishes ready here. I've got a little bit of lemon, which I'm just going to half and cut into wedges, like so. And I'm just going to cut out the seeds. Again, most of the seeds in the lemon are kind of located towards the center. So if you just cut out the center pit there, you'll get most of those seeds, and you'll have a nice seedless lemon that you can use to squeeze over your mussels. So just like this, just kind of nip that off. Perfect. I'm going to do that with this too. And this one I'm going to actually leave half of this, because I'm going to use that to squeeze into the mussels at the end. So I've got my nice little service lemons here. And this one. There we go. So we got our lemons. Next thing I want to do is I want to top this with some freshness. So I've got a little cilantro. Now this is a great, when I do these normally, and again, if I have celery, usually what I like to do is use the celery leaves to garnish. The celery leaves add a really nice, pretty garnish. They look kind of like cilantro or parsley, but it just kind of adds just a little bit more of that fresh parsley flavor to it, or celery, as it were. So I'm just going to go ahead, rough chop this cilantro for my garnish. And you don't have to get overly fancy here or overly fine. You can chop it as rough, rustic as you want, or you can garnish with full leaves. That always works too. All right. So I got my cilantro ready. I got my lemons ready. We're basically ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and check. Oh, these mussels are just about all open. Give them just another 30 seconds and we'll be good to go. Again, this is great. So I've got a little platter here, which I'm going to use to plate my mussels. Now we want to get some kind of like bowl or a platter that's got a ridge so that that broth doesn't just go everywhere. But we're doing pretty good right here. This one will work. This is deep enough of a plate to where it will hold in all that broth and stuff. But you could, again, you could just do this into a baking dish and it would look fantastic. Mussels always make a very nice looking centerpiece for any kind of table like this. So we are good here, and this smells outrageously good. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start spooning out some of these mussels onto my platter, like so. Candle's a little hot. I don't have towels. So just do this. I'm just going to spoon these out onto this platter, like so. Oh, again, I really wish you could smell these because they smell unbelievable. I'm just going to spread these all out. I'm going to scoop out some of this bacon and these onions. This right on top here. Sort of spread it all around. Oh yeah, this is so good. And I'm just going to take this extra sauce and just pour it around that plate there. And there we go. So I'm going to do quick, grab a little paper towel. I'm just going to wipe off the rim here, because I made a mess, like you do sometimes. So I'm just going to clean my plate. Make sure we're all good for our presentation. And I'm going to take this little piece of lemon that I saved. I'm going to squeeze this sort of right over the top here. Again, this just adds a little bit of brightness. And then I'll add my chopped cilantro right over the top. Again, you could use parsley or celery leaves. That would also be fantastic here. Again, I think the celery leaves is really cool. This is perfect. we'll go ahead and just lemon up our plate a bit. Ooh, I'm dropping stuff. Looking great. Perfect. So we've got here 1 platter of party mussels ready to go. Again, you put this out for brunch. Oh, we've also, let's not forget, the most important part, when you're eating mussels, you gotta have some nice bread to go along with it. That's very, very, very important. So put some bread on here, just to help make the presentation look all nice. And this is great. There we go. Again, we've got ourselves one heck of a plate of mussels. Let me show you up close here. Kind of see I can't really tip it because, you know, all that juice is going to go everywhere. But you can see just a really nice plate of mussels. This is super great for a brunch. Plus, again, you've got the Bloody Mary mix, so if you were to go ahead and make yourself a bunch of Bloody Marys, I wouldn't be disappointed. Again, do this. You could do that salmon hash that we did yesterday too. Again, do an egg bake. You could throw some shrimp in the eggs, do all different kinds of things there. There's just a lot of great ways to incorporate seafood into a brunch. It's a lot of fun. And again, you know, the holiday weekend's coming up, so hopefully you're all going to be safe and have fun. You know, hanging out with your families and whatnot. So we appreciate that and all the support everybody's been giving us. Again, we've had a lot of fun doing these, and we're gonna just keep it rolling as long as we need to. So every day, 1 o'clock, we're doing these cooking demos. Next week we'll have some more fun stuff. I'll see what we get in and see what we can come up with. You can check our website for recipes. I'm adding the recipes from these to that as quickly as I can. This recipe is already up there, so you can certainly go and grab that. Super delicious, super easy. Thanks so much for tuning in. Again, stay safe. Have a good weekend. We are closed Sunday, so if you do need stuff for Sunday, make sure you're placing your orders today, either for pickup today or for tomorrow, to make sure that you can get what you need for that. We're going to try to accommodate everybody as best as we can. Otherwise, again, thanks so much for tuning in. Stay safe. Have a good weekend, and we will see you soon.